What's up y'all, I'm Higashi, and in this video, we'll be going over the most recent and final patch before Season 2 hits in Eternal Return Black Survival. Don't forget to subscribe and let's get into it. Before we get into the patch breakdown though, there's a few things we got from the devs this past week that I want to go over. If you enjoy this game and have some free time, I highly suggest you check this out. There's a lot of good stuff in here and it's very insightful. I'll leave a link in the descriptions. We also got a monthly breakdown on some interesting statistics in terms of how the game is being played across all regions. We also got this dope meta golem that displays the most used items. Keep up the good work, Aesops. Now onto the patch. For the first time, we're getting a quick look at what this patch is bringing. This was inspired by Reddit user Daxy8, and I hope that this inspires more people to create content on this game, as this shows that we can make a direct impact on the development in this game. Now let's talk character balance. Let's start with Alex. He came out initially pretty undertuned, and the overall opinion of most players is that he's pretty weak. So he got some buffs. His base movement speed has been increased from 3 to 3.05. His attack power and SP per level has been increased. The movement speed for his passive has also been increased from 2 to 2.5 seconds. His melee Q is also getting a slight damage buff, and the cooldown is being reduced by 0.5 seconds. What's interesting about this is that it's specifically the melee Q and not the ranged Q. His ranged W is also getting a slight increase in its duration. And finally, his ultimate is getting a slight buff, having its cooldown reduced by 160 to 140 at rank 1 and 140 to 130 at rank 2. These buffs are definitely welcome for Alex, but it's hard to say if this will actually affect him in the long run. Rozzi is getting a minor nerf, with her base attack power being lowered by 2, and her W movement speed being lowered by 10%. Dailin is also getting a minor nerf, having her attack power lowered by 2. Xiukai is getting a minor buff, having his base defense increased by 2. His base regen is also being increased by 0.2. This will increase his survivability as well as increase his ability to cook early game. Sissela is also getting a very minor buff, giving her R more weapon mastery after it's been used. This is much more minor than it looks, so don't worry about it too much. Aya is getting a pretty nice buff, getting more attack power, defense, and SP per level. This is a pretty interesting change as Pistol Aya right now is performing pretty well, so we'll have to see how this change affects her this week. Isol is getting a slight adjustment, having his attack power decreased and having his defense increased per level. Yuki is getting a base attack speed increase from 0.06 to 0.08. His W is also getting a pretty nice buff, having a cooldown reduction when damaging other players from 0.5 seconds to 1 second. These buffs actually seem super good, so we'll have to see how this affects him. Zahir is getting a slight attack power nerf, not really a big deal. Jackie's getting kind of an insane buff, having her Q cooldown being reduced by a whole second. This is going to increase the Bleeder Jackie build's effectiveness quite a bit as they did buff in the previous patch. Honestly, not really sure how I feel about this one. Cathy is getting some more nerfs, having her base defense decreased, her attack power per level decreased, and her passive movement speed being decreased as well. These nerfs make sense since Cathy is pretty strong at all points of a game. Chiara is getting some nerfs, as her base defense is being lowered by 2. Apparently there was also an unintended change in the previous patch where her ultimate does less damage, and they're keeping it that way. This nerf does seem pretty significant, but I guess we just have to wait and see how this plays out. Hart's getting a slight buff to a W. I still won't level it though. Hyunwoo's W is also getting some pretty nice buffs, as it seems like a revert from previous patches. Finally, Hyejin is getting a nice attack power buff. All hail Hyejin. Now that we got characters out of the way, let's move on to weapons and armor. The Steel Thorn Dagger got nerfed, losing 30 HP. The Assault Rifle weapon skill Overheat got a slight ENAD damage increase. The Rapier weapons got a slight adjustment, having the base weapons buffed and the 2 RNG transition items nerfed. Hammer of Thor got a slight nerf. This is probably in preparation for the release of Sewer next week. Spy Umbrella got a slight nerf, while Magic Stick got a slight buff, having the attack power increased by 4 and the vision range increased by 0.5. Maybe it's actually time to make this thing. Dual Swords got an overall nerf to their weapon amplification per weapon mastery level. Nunchucks got an overall buff per weapon level, as well as a buff to the weapon Cerberus. The Shuriken Azure Dagger got a slight nerf to its flat skill amp. Two-Handed Sword also got a slight nerf to its weapon mastery level. The Sniper Rifle Deadly Ray had its movement speed reduction removed. Sharpened Spear had its movement speed slightly reduced, and 18-foot Spear got a slight movement increase. In armor, they mentioned something pretty interesting where they want to add some extra functionality in a future patch. What that is sounds pretty exciting and I'm quite interested. Anyways, Queen of Hearts got a slight buff to its defense, and its HP regeneration got slightly nerfed. Crystal Tiara got some defense, and lost some max SP. Steel Shield lost some attack power, and Gojin lost some skill amp, but got some attack power to compensate. We got some more food changes for you. Lemon ice cream is now going to be called lemon custard, although it still does look like ice cream. Fish and chips can now be stacked to 6. This is a very welcome quality of life change, and I love it. For team mode damage adjustments, we have Bernice getting a slight nerf. This is probably due to his aura being a little bit too effective in team modes. Yuki and Jackie dual wield also got hit due to Rampage being just what it is. Shuriken Hyejin also got some solo nerfs. We're also getting a little preview of what the next patch could have in store for us. It looks like whips and spears will be getting some new functionality, as well as the flat skill amp damaging items. It also looks like they're changing the location of certain boxes in selected areas, and they're also repositioning hyperloops. This sounds like a really good change, as some spawn locations are just straight up better than others, and you can just sometimes feel screwed at the very beginning of a game. They also mentioned some additional functionality to Queen of Hearts, and maybe some Jackie and Magnus ability adjustments. And those are the changes for the latest patch 0.301. Let us know in the comments what your favorite changes were, and if you liked the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe. All the footage you saw here is from my stream. You can find me at twitch.tv/HigashiGG. Here's a bonus clip for getting to the end of the video. Thanks for watching, stay safe, stay hydrated, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, y'all.
Are you a bot? And you're beating me to death like this? Go away! This Luke's bot is chasing me. He's AFK, and it's just chasing me down. Dog, it's actually about to kill me.
Dude,
wait. So, dude, only
you're getting griefed by a bot, dude. You know you can just kill him, right?
Why did you kill it back? You have skills. Oh my god.
You know you can just attack it, right? God.
Please stop.
Dude,
please
that guy, he's like,
Alright.
And it's still hitting me. This is hilarious, dog.
Alright,
it's still just going.
Alright, that's
the Hyejin that downed me. Kill her.
It takes a special someone to die to a bot.
Dog, you don't even understand.
I think I do.
Look, and it's still standing there. I really figured, right?
Let it stand there and
let it stand there overwhelmingly.
Remind you of your failures.
I thought once I lost vision of it, it would stop attacking me. It just didn't.